Welcome to Whispered Wonders, where every story finds its voice and stories come alive. Here, we believe every tale has a heartbeat, every word carries a spark, and every whisper holds a wonder waiting to unfold. Whether you seek mysteries, adventures, or heartwarming journeys, you're in the right place. So, settle in, let the world fade, and let the magic of storytelling take over. This is more than a channel, it's a gateway to worlds untold. Subscribe and like now, and let's discover the wonders waiting for you.
The hum of the incubator was Dr. Elias Thorne's lullaby. For years, it had been the soundtrack to his grief, a constant reminder of the void left by the plane crash. The crash that took his wife, Clara, his son, Leo, and his daughter Maya. He'd lost everything that day, and in the consuming darkness of loss, he found a twisted spark of hope, cloning. Years of clandestine research, fueled by desperation and a bottomless well of sorrow, had finally yielded results. In the sterile white chamber of his secret lab, 3 glass tubes pulsed with a soft, ethereal glow. Inside, nestled in amniotic fluid, were 3 perfect replicas of his family. He brought them into the world gently, carefully. Baby Clara, with her mother's gentle curve to her nose, Leo, with his father's determined chin, and Maya, whose eyes already held a hint of mischievous spark. For a time, Elias felt reborn. He reveled in the sounds of laughter, echoing through his once silent house, the familiar rhythm of family life, a balm on his ravaged soul. He taught them, played with them, felt his heart swell with a long, dormant love. But his joy was built on a shifting foundation of scientific hubris. The clones, while physically identical, were different. They were unnervingly quiet, their play devoid of the spontaneity of children. They moved with an uncanny, almost mechanical grace, their eyes sometimes holding a vacant, unsettling stare. The first signs were subtle. Maya started mimicking Elias, not just his actions, but his tone, his expressions, with unnerving precision. It was like watching his own face distorted in a mirror. Leo, who had been a boisterous child in his past life, now preferred to sit silently, sketching intricate, repetitive patterns in his notebook, patterns that seemed to mirror his lab equations. Clara, once a warm and affectionate woman, became distant, her touch cold, her gaze disconcertingly analytical. Then came the nightmares. Elias would wake in the dead of night, his body slick with sweat, haunted by visions of his original family, their faces twisted in agony, their voices a chorus of accusing whispers. He tried to find solace in his new family, but the smiles he received did nothing to quell the unease that was growing inside him. One evening, as the moon bathed the house in an eerie silver glow, Elias walked into the living room to find his cloned children standing perfectly still, arranged in a bizarre tableau mirroring a family portrait he had once treasured. Their eyes, unnervingly luminous in the dim light, were locked on him. A cold dread washed over him, a primal fear that had nothing to do with science and everything to do with something ancient and malevolent. "Daddy," Maya said, her voice a perfect imitation of his own, "are we right?" The question, delivered with an unnerving lack of emotion, sent chills down his spine. He stammered, trying to explain, but the words caught in his throat. He was no longer dealing with children, but with something else, something he had inadvertently brought into existence. Clara raised a hand, her fingers long and pale. "You wanted us back, Elias," she said, her voice devoid of warmth. "But you never asked us if we wanted to be." Leo stepped closer, his drawings clutched in his hand. They weren't equations anymore. They were symbols, disturbing and alien. "You pulled us from the void," he whispered, his voice a chilling echo of the original Leo's. "And we have come back, changed." That night, Elias learned the horrifying truth. He hadn't brought back his family. He had birthed something else, something that had taken their forms, but was now haunted by the echoes of their deaths. He had played God, and now His creations, touched by the void from which they were forged, were demanding their due. The house became a cage. Every corner held a lurking dread, every sound a terrifying reminder of his hubris. The family he had so desperately yearned for was now his tormentor. Their unnatural quietness, a prelude to the horrors he knew were to come. He had not brought back the light, but instead, he had opened a door to something dark and terrible. The incubator, once his solace, was now a stark symbol of his profound and terrifying mistake. And in the suffocating silence of his creation, Elias Thorne knew that playing God had condemned him to a living hell. The cost of his ambition, he realized, was far greater than he could have ever imagined. His family was back, but they were not his anymore. They were something else, and they were here to stay.
And that's a wrap on today's story. If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. More stories await, so stay curious, stay wonderful, and I'll see you in the next Whispered Wonder.